We would like to acknowledge the Yagara people and the Turrbal people as the traditional custodians of Mianjin, the lands in which we record this podcast today. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging.
Always was, always will be Aboriginal land.
Everybody, welcome to For the Health of a Podcast, a Healthcare Australia podcast.
Made for healthcare professionals by nurses on the inside. My name is Jessica.
And I'm Xana, and we are Healthcare Australia's Brand Ambassadors. If you haven't heard us before, I'm sure you have now. We're all over the social media, and please reach out if you have any questions or anything, any questions that you send through Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, it all comes to us. So please send those questions through, and we'll be able to help you out from a nurse's perspective as well. But today we just have a fun drive to work podcast. It's going to be a quick, short podcast for anyone who just wants to know about a few hospital hacks. Yes. We all have our little things that we hear other people do that, you know, you wouldn't think about yourself, or when you find out, you go, oh my gosh, I wish I knew this entire time. This would have saved me so much time. It would have just, been so much easier, more effective. So we wanted to share some of our ones with you. And if you have any, please send them to us as well.
Yeah, we love hospital hacks.
Yeah.
So the list that we're reading today is a mixture of our own personal hospital hacks. Like, I've been a nurse for over 10 years. Anna's been a nurse for over 6 years.
Yep.
And then we've also reached out to different Facebook pages, mainly rural remote Facebook pages, and asked them what their hospital hacks are. So they have sent some really hilarious ones. One of them that I want to go at the top of my brain that I just thought of just then, which was, I think was so funny. One of the nurses says that she feels so bad during night shift when she goes into the patient's room to wake them up, because you have to do 4-hourly observations.
Yes.
You have to go in at midnight and then at 4 a.m. and then morning shift will come on and do 8, but you still have to wake them up at midnight and 4, and it's awful, right? So what she does is she gets the pump set and she'll change the times on it so it's still doing its normal hourly rate, but it'll actually beep at 12 o'clock. So she would look at the time and then do it like that. So then she comes into the room and it's beeping and she's like, oh, you're awake. Oh, while I'm in here, I'll do your observation.
It's actually genius, really.
It's actually so good, because it's like not you waking them up. It's like an alarm clock. So
and they're always like, yeah, that's fine. It's no worries. Yeah. You're like, I just need to change the bag.
Yeah.
You
and
know?
they're like, while I'm in here, though, I'll do your blood pressure real quick.
I love that one.
That to me was like a light bulb moment. I was like, I'm going to do that every single night shift from now on, because I hate waking people up from sleep. It's the worst part.
It is the worst, because I hate being woken up from sleep. And I can't even imagine what it would be like.
And when you startle someone and you're like tapping them, you're like,
oh, or like you're standing at the end of the bed, like counting the respirations, and they just sense that you're there and wake up, and then you both you definitely both put your pants at that point.
Man. You're like, Mr. Smith, Mr. Smith. And they're like, ah. You're like, I'm so
And then
sorry.
you get scared and you're like, ah, oh, it's scared.
So that one was absolute genius. I'll hand it over to Xana to read from our list.
Yes, this one's good actually, and it's something that I do as well, but like kind of in a different sense. So putting alcohol wipes on the nose to stop someone's nausea, that one's really good. And I also kind of do that sometimes if, like, you know, when you're wearing your masks in like at work and you just, there's a weird smells, or like you have coffee breath or something like that, you can just put some alcohol, like that alcohol wipe just kind of inside the mask or in like on your tip of your nose, and it just gets rid of, you know, the smell of your own breath.
Yeah, true. Sometimes you're
that also is great.
Having those masks now and eating like a tuna sandwich or something, it's so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah.
I use this hack actually a lot in recovery, because I work in a recovery setting a lot, and a lot of people are nauseated from the general anesthetic. So my routine is always, you know, oxygen mask on. I always put a little alcohol swab here on the nose, as well as antiemetics, and I put a cold flannel on their forehead, and it's actually just my go-to. And I'll fan them, and I just like, it's just like
feed them some grapes.
Yeah, I mean, I would if they needed it, I would do that. That's the nurse I am. But the alcohol one I use all the time. It's been like embedded in my brain for a long time. Another one we've got is eucalyptus oil is great for the really smelly rooms, and I've done that before. So even if my mask, I will dip some of that eucalyptus oil and then put my mask on.
Do you want to know a great tip that I've just thought of just now in relation to the eucalyptus oil? Is that you get a nebulizer mask and you basically connect the nebulizer to the oxygen. So you put it, the air. We'll connect it to the air, the tube, but instead of putting it onto the mask, you sticky tape it to the top of where the air comes out.
Are you doing a DIY diffuser?
Yep, and it diffuses the eucalyptus oil into the air, and it literally works like wonders. It gets rid of any smell. And
DIY.
And you leave it stuck up there, you leave it sellotaped, so then every time you want it, you just turn it on and just eucalyptusize your room.
Especially for those real smelly rooms, like
sometimes
smelly wounds or...
Yeah, melena, those kinds of times. Eucalyptus oil is great. So, make your own diffuser. Pretty great.
That one's really good. I love that you just threw that one out there. I'm going to skip that one because you've done that one before and I've never. So I'm going to leave that one for you. Another one is ice on the back of the head after nasal surgery. Really helps with the bleeding. So
it really does.
I mean, I don't understand like how or why. I'm not into the science.
It obviously blocks some receptors of some kind, but it works.
We're not into the science behind these things. We're purely just saying nursing hacks, okay?
Yeah.
So I just know every time I get nasal surgery that comes out and they've got the bolster on, I always put an ice pack on the back of the neck no matter what, and it really helps.
Yeah, it also helps with the nausea as well because like they have blood dripping down the back of their throat. It's not very nice. They can't blow their nose, so like it kind of helps as a distraction as well.
Definitely. So that third one, because you've done that before.
Oh, yeah. So if you are working in ICU or you need a pressure bag of some kind, in ICU you put your saline bag inside a pressure bag, and that's how you keep your arterial line open or your central line open. So you can actually connect that. There's a port on the side of it where you can usually put like a syringe or whatever to draw air out, put air in. But you can actually connect it straight to the air on the wall, and that can actually pump your thing up much quicker. So if you are in an emergency situation and you need that pressure bag ASAP, you can put the saline in there instead of standing there and pump, and then your biceps getting sore and your hands getting sore because you're also pumping blood in it at the same time. You can just put it on the air and blow it up real quick.
Yeah, but obviously, have the saline bag inside it.
Otherwise it defeats purpose.
But it does make sense because I've been in situations where you're just sitting there and you're like, I can't go any faster with this pump. And you're exhausted by the end of it.
And also in ICU, a lot of the time, if it is, and ED, for example, if you are in a resus situation, they need those bloods, they need albumin, they need whatever it is pumped in super quick. Albumin is slightly different because it usually comes in glass. But you can actually put it inside the pressure bag and run it faster as well.
Wow. Well, so good. I'm going to use that hack one day, I'm sure. Sure I will. This one was really good. So, when sometimes you're needing to measure the IDC, but they don't have the hourly measure on there, and it's not usually as accurate. Sometimes, especially when you're an agency nurse and you can't find a pan room and you don't know where things are, or maybe you go in there and they've got the new paper bottles, so then you're like, if I empty into and if you empty into the paper bottle, then you can't like measure it, but you need to measure it because you got to look at the output. This one was great, and it says empty the IDC into a vomit bag to measure. We all know, like, there's always
I used to do that all the time, and not just for urine. I used to do it for my wounds at 12 o'clock midnight every night. I'd empty all my wound bags into the vomit bag and then take it back to the pan room and measure them all out. It's way easier.
So good. So I just because I have actually been stuck with that a few times doing shifts where they have used those new paper urine bottles, and it's like I understand because it's better for the environment, but then I'm kind of like, they didn't have the hourly measure, and I don't sometimes trust the measuring thing. I don't know. So this was really good. Actually, I like that one. I'll pass it to you.
All right. So this one was funny, actually. This one had a lot of messages about the exact thing, and it's kind of not really a hack, but it's just kind of funny that people said it. That basically you can use micropore tape for everything. People use it for everything.
Yeah.
So my favorite and Jess's favorite is the see-through tape. We're not talking about the kind of the flimsy.
No, we're talking about that material tape, thick, clear one,
clear white, clear tape. It literally is so sticky. You can never get it off anything. But literally people use it for everything. I've heard like from this, feed that we had on Facebook that people have used it to replace their cars and put their cars back together, stick, their lights back on their cars. They've used it for keep hemming their pants. Like their nursing scrub pants, you can apparently hem them and do a little kind of double-sided tape action.
So good.
So many things. Micropore tape for everything.
And we always accidentally have it in our pockets. So
it's in our bags, in our pockets.
Actually, funny side story. This is I don't know if you guys want to use this hack ever, but I was driving from one contract to another and I had a caravan. And I had to, you push the caravan, you squish the top down and you clip the sides. And when I was driving, I looked and one of my clips had come undone and the top of my caravan little lid was coming up. And I was like, oh my goodness me. So I had to pull over the side of the road and I could not get the clip together. Like I had to sit on the caravan to like squish it. And I was like, what am I going to do? I'm on the side of the road.
Wow.
And I had a spare tourniquet. And I got the tourniquet and I just like wrapped it around. I went really tight. And it got me through.
Well, it's like
another 500 kilometers.
It's like the big versions that you get from Bunnings. It's just like a smaller version, It's like it's not actually a car one, but it still does the same trick.
Yeah. And then I stopped at a petrol station and someone had saw me pull over and do that. And then they saw me at the petrol station like an hour or two later and he was like, hey, what did you end up using? And I was like, oh, this is a tourniquet. I'm a nurse.
It's actually genius.
And then he was like, do you want me to help you close it? I'm like, yes, please.
Win-win.
So crazy. Just thought I'd bring that one up. And what have we got
Starting
here?
At the top of that one.
I've never heard of this one, but a few people wrote it. A Mylanta on an itch.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one
don't know.
either. But I mean, like, usually you have some sort of access to calamine or something like that, because calamine's typically what you'd use on an itch. But apparently Mylanta works too if you're out somewhere and you can't find any.
I don't get it, but we got sent this in. Like someone sent this in, so interesting.
Yeah, super interesting. Someone also wrote this, which I've never done personally, and I actually had I saw someone's story the other day of that she got blood on her scrubs, and she actually put a question box up and was like, how do I get blood out of scrubs? And I sent her this one, even though I'd never done it myself. I was like, look, someone wrote this in. I don't know if it works. Apparently heparin. Yeah. Pouring heparin on something, like on jeans, on scrubs, on whatever, gets the blood out.
I wonder. Did she write back?
She didn't write back. I don't know if she gave it a go, but...
I should reach out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure 2 or 3 people wrote that in the thread too.
I guess because it breaks it down and, I don't know, stops the clotting, so maybe it, loosens it from the fibers. I don't know.
Obviously, use expired buyers, guys. Like, don't just be...
don't be stealing that heparin.
We just got this on a Facebook page.
Don't come for us.
Disclaimer, okay? Disclaimer. This is a really good one that I love teaching students as well about, when you're priming your line, your IV line, and you see the bubbles, is that you can actually just get like a syringe and just pop it to the side and actually draw out the bubbles and then just discard. And it's actually so much easier than actually like, trying to prime and disconnecting it from the patient, and like, because you don't want to be, introducing bacteria and stuff into the line, so it's best not to disconnect it. So teaching students these ways is actually so much better. So I love that one. Sorry, I skipped to my favorite one.
I mean, I had a thought when you were just saying that one. I mean, people who are listening probably know this hack, but new grads and things might not. But if you are using like a glass vial or anything like that and you're really struggling with priming it, it's because priming from glass is very, very hard. Make sure that you get a needle, and you have specific needles that go into glass vials that are basically an air pipe, and they just create that little bit of airflow back out to release the pressure that's inside the glass, and it can help you prime your line as well. So that always helps in those situations. If you're priming albumin, small bottles of albumin, Panadol, even IV Panadol, often hard to prime, and then they just like stop, and you're like, why have you just stopped? It's so annoying. Just get that air pipe, put it in, flows quickly.
You got to do it.
So Sorbolene as shaving cream. I think this is a good one because a lot of people do have reactions to, facial, what do you call it, shaving cream, and the razors and stuff as well. And people often have like very sensitive skin. And shaving cream, I don't know about any other unit, but bloody hell, shaving cream in ICU is like a hot commodity. It's usually hidden in there's one in the whole entire unit, and it's hidden in someone's drawer, and you never know where it is. So you go around the unit asking for shaving cream for like 25 minutes. You may as well just get the Sorbolene. So
just and get the job done,
Oh dear.
I don't understand that one. Oh yeah, I do this one all the time in recovery. I always get a large or an extra large glove, and I just blow it up, and then I tie it up, and then I draw 2 little eyeballs on it, and I act like it's like, I don't know why I think it's a chicken, but it's not. But I do a chicken noise, and I'm like, bok, 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 and then they love it. Like,
that's
they
very
just think
random.
I don't know. I make it some kind of creature with the little mohawk. And they love it. And then sometimes I'll do 2 of them, and then I'll just bounce them like that. And then
you're a clown. You're juggling.
Yeah, and they're just staring at me, and I'm like, because you got to keep them distracted.
So strange waking up to that experience from you.
Yeah. I'm not the best with children, so I have to do these tactics to make them love me.
Love it.
Well, I always do that.
On the theme of gloves, I think this is on one of the lists as well. But in ICU, you have a lot of patients that are intubated. You have an ETT. It oftentimes sags. I know you put your ETAD on, and it's supposed to stay in the right place, but some of those ETADs just don't last very long. They sag. People are sweaty. It moves all the time. So if you also blow up what do you call it? Not a balloon, a glove.
A glove balloon.
You can put it actually kind of underneath and rest the end of the ETT on it, so it keeps it up and keeps it in line.
Oh, yeah, you told me
and
about
then otherwise, if you don't have access to that, or you just don't really like the glove idea, you can just roll up a small towel and do the same thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it just kind of the more it does sag, and the more it kind of drags down, the more that the ETAD drags down, and then their face,
And would it create little pressure sores as well if it's pushing down? Like,
it does as well. The ETAD, or what you're supposed to use for like long-term intubated patients, do have contraptions that keep it off the lips, and it does have a thing where you can move it left and right, and you are supposed to rotate that based on your pressure area care like you are anything else. Yeah. So it is supposed to be able to be moved and things like that. But the longer they're in there, even if you are changing it when you're supposed to be changing it, it's sometimes still, they just get manky. So it is good to keep it up. Otherwise you will get those pressure areas. And we all know you're supposed to do the pressure area care, but sometimes it just gets left, and people end up with pressure areas. That's why there's pressure areas, is because oftentimes
sometimes you don't think
it
of
does just
that
slip your
area.
mind, and it might be something that wasn't handed over properly, and then that ETAD or the ETT is sitting on the lip for 12 hours, and they do get a pressure sore. So just be vigilant, keep it up. That's a great way to kind of keep it off the lip as well. So yeah.
So good. I think we should stop at the episode now because I want people to send in their hospital hacks. And we definitely would love to do another episode on hospital hacks because it's so fun and we love fun. It's just like a nursing thing and a midwife. Like we want to get some midwifery hacks as well. So if you're a midwife, send us some hacks so that we can talk about it. It's so fun.
It is fun. I love this.
I love this. Do a nice lighthearted episode. So as soon as you've listened to this, slide into our Instagram DMs. It's healthcare.australia.
Yep.
And then also, or you can message us on Facebook, which is Healthcare Australia.
Yep.
You can go onto our TikTok, which is Healthcare Australia. Anything. And we reply to you.
Yeah, and don't forget about this competition that's on at the moment. It is two $5,000 holidays. This is going to be coming out probably end of February, start of March. So by the time you're hearing this podcast, it's going to be almost end of the giveaway.
Yeah.
So make sure you're working. Every shift that you work is an entry, and you can also get extra entries by tagging a Healthcare Australia, not actually a Healthcare Australia friend, a healthcare worker friend in the Facebook official post. And please be aware that the only people messaging you to win is us. There are scammers out there, and they are saying that other people are winning, and the competition is not over until it's specifically
March 27th is when the competition is finished. So between now, by the time you're listening to this, it ends on March 27th, and on March 29th, the winners will be contacted. Okay, so if you get contacted any time before, you have not won. It's a scammer.
Yes, our Facebook is verified as well, so please look out for that and don't fall for anything, and don't click any links because we won't send you a link. We'll just tell you that you won.
Okay. So two $5,000 vouchers. How insane is that?
Amazing.
So send us your hospital hacks. Get in touch with us. Ask us any questions about Metro, R&R, permanent positions within Healthcare Australia. We know everything.
Yep.
We're behind the scenes. We're the ones to contact.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, everyone. And we can't wait to hear all your hospital hacks soon.
Bye, guys.